On today's Smart 7, farmers want food prices to fall, Rishi's gone to Iceland and lots more. It's Wednesday the 17th of May, it's National Numeracy Day and happy birthday Enya.
The Smart 7. It's news, but not the news.
Farmers, supermarket bosses and food manufacturers took a trip to Downing Street on Tuesday for a summit on food security. A new £30 million support package for new technology and a further 45,000 visas for seasonal horticulture workers was announced ahead of the summit. And with food and drink prices having risen at their fastest rate in 45 years over the past 12 months, the hot topic was how to tackle inflation. Minette Batters is president of the National Farmers Union and says there's scope for prices to fall.
We started this place from a point of being the third most affordable in the entire world, so I think there is a level of inflation now that is baked in, but obviously some areas they'll be able to look at ways that they can bring the price down.
But Andrew Opie from the British Retail Consortium says government actions needed to help drive prices down.
It's been a massive challenge for our British farmers here and also retailers to get the value, because at the same time we've got customers who are really challenged with their own spending. So keeping that food affordable as possible is a real challenge for everybody in the supply chain.
And it's not just food prices which have soared. The average cost of baby formula has risen by around 22% over the past year, with some parents resorting to shoplifting or following unsafe feeding practices. Claire Murphy, Chief Executive of the British Pregnancy Advisory Service, says formula needs to be accessible for everyone.
All these things that are happening are putting us on the brink of a public health crisis. This isn't a luxury product. This is a necessary product that is fundamental in the first 6 months of a baby's life.
Tuesday evening saw PM Rishi Sunak jetting to Iceland for a rare Council of Europe summit, the first held by the group in 18 years. The focus was to hold Russia accountable for war crimes committed in Ukraine, with leaders of the 46 member nations meeting to establish the reparations Moscow will be required to pay out. But speaking ahead of the summit, Rishi also seemed convinced it would be a great time to talk about illegal migration.
There'll be two big agenda items for me today. The first is Ukraine. The other topic is illegal migration, of course. Many countries in Europe are experiencing what we are experiencing at home, and I want to work together with others to help solve it and to stop the boats.
The summit followed a massive overnight attack on the Ukrainian capital of Kyiv, although Ukrainian air defences were able to intercept all 6 Kinzhal missiles shot at the city. It's a good sign of Ukraine's growing military capabilities ahead of their anticipated counter-offensive, and defence analyst Robert Clark says things seem to be going to plan.
The Ukrainian counter-offensive's already starting to shape, and we've already seen around a kilometre of Ukrainian land being retaken at enormous casualty rates suffered by the Russians.
Tuesday saw members of the Tory right gather in London for day 2 of the National Conservatism Conference, but the event's already been raising some eyebrows, with cabinet ministers coming under fire for seemingly using the event to criticise government policy. Home Secretary Suella Braverman used her keynote on Monday as an opportunity to stoke culture wars, but Conservative MP Robert Buckland says Suella ought to concentrate on actually being the Home Secretary.
She's got a big job to do. I know she wants to do it. I think getting on and doing that job is exactly where she needs to be.
And Labour's Jonathan Ashworth says Rishi needs to put a stop to the conference.
Rishi Sunak's got to condemn this conference, and if he doesn't condemn this conference and those who've attended it, I think you can conclude it's the modern face of the Tory party.
Royal College of Nursing boss Pat Cullen set to meet with Health Secretary Steve Barclay once again as the battle over pay and conditions continue. RCN nurses in England have been striking since November, but speaking at the RCN conference in Brighton, she says she's keen to finish negotiations before the 75th anniversary of the NHS in July. The RCN voted narrowly to reject a 5% pay offer and cash payment last month, and Pat says she'll be explaining why to Steve as soon as she gets back from Japan.
The Health Secretary wants to see me. Colleagues, this is not about negotiations, but it is important that I go, and I tell him again why many of you voted to reject the pay offer.
Still to come on the Smart 7, Inter Milan booked their seat to Istanbul and Matt Willis opens up about addiction. Right after this. Welcome back. Tuesday night saw a titanic battle between the two teams of Milan as Inter Milan took on AC Milan for a place in this year's Champions League final in Istanbul. Inter led 2-0 from the first leg and a 74th minute goal from Martinez was enough to close out the tie. They finished 3-0 winners on aggregate and now await tonight's second semi between Real Madrid and Man City to see who they face in the final. Inter's Denzel Dumfries is looking forward to it.
We are ready to suffer. Until now we had a great campaign, and we're going to Istanbul to win it, and we are very focused on achieving that goal.
Busted bassist Matt Willis has a new documentary called Fighting Addiction, which hits BBC One on Wednesday. It follows Matt as he opens up about his past battles with alcohol and cocaine use, including his relapse in 2016 after the band reunited. In the raw footage, he admits it caused him to miss major milestones like his daughter's first crawl and almost cost him his marriage. He popped up on the One Show to talk about the doc and says his confidence is in a good place ahead of Busted's next tour in September.
I now have a real sturdy set of rules and regulations in place for me and to keep me safe. At the end of the day, you know, I love those boys and they love me, and we've got a job to do, so it's kind of important that I keep on the straight and narrow to do the job.
Oscar-winning Boyhood actress Patricia Arquette's back with a new challenge. She'll be taking on the role of former addict-turned-private investigator Peggy in the new Apple TV series High Desert. The 8-part series follows Peggy as she joins a floundering detective agency in the small Californian town of Yucca Valley following the death of her mother. But it soon turns out the unlikely PI has a gift for sleuthing, and the mysteries just keep unravelling in frenetic fashion. It's streaming right now.
What are you supposed to be?
A real PI? What are you playing at?
I'm not hiring.
I'm a natural detective. You need me, and I need this job.
Be here Monday morning at 9 a.m.
I don't get up before 11. When I had money, we all had money.
From dealing drugs.
It was a little pot, maybe some hash.
There was cocaine.
Well, that was much later, and I did it. I didn't sell it.
Oh, wow.
Okay, calm down.
You've been listening to The Smart 7. We'll be back tomorrow at 7 a.m. Hit that follow button and have a great day. Give us 7 minutes, we'll give you the world.